I think the reason why everyone gets conflicting advice is because there is no correct path. I think that if each of us went through how we got to this stage, it would be completely different. And that's the good news and the bad news, right? For producers who are looking to break through. So I think for me at least, the way to articulate something that could be useful is to look at the through line that I think successful producers have, because the variations are what you'll bring to the table. But I think ultimately, material needs to be singular and iconic in some form or another. It needs to have a vision for how to get through. Meaning, is there a screenwriter? Is there a filmmaker? Does that filmmaker break through? Is there an actor that you can bring to the table? Ultimately, the money that makes these things happen, with some exceptions, but for the most part, universally, is looking to make something with as little risk as possible. So as producers, I think we all spend as much time as we can to stack the deck. Spotlight was not a movie until, it was a movie, but it wasn't a greenlit movie until we had every single member of the cast, a start date, and a budget, and then the money came. Katwe sounded like it was willed into life by people who, against all odds, really, at that studio, got this thing through by just doing it. I think that that's what producing really is. It's like breathing life into something so much that it has its own momentum. And I think that probably is the through line.
I really love Michael's point about how we force something into existence. Sure, you want to succeed, you want to find financing, you want to find an audience, but I think more important than those things is it driving you? Do you want to spend 9 years, whether it's a colossal failure, and I've made my share of them too, but they've been projects and lives and films that I just had to make. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care if it was about a Palestinian orphan who grew up in a refugee camp on the West Bank or in Jerusalem, which nobody else cared about, but I did, and we made it anyway. And despite that, if you're driven to spend years doing something, you'll figure out a way to force it into existence, even if it's with a smaller budget or a limited release. If it's a story you have to tell, at least for me, that's what drives me. I'm not driven by what's going to be the most successful thing. I'm driven by what's going to, excite me and get me, interested in making the best film possible, because we're spending years doing it. It's got to be, every day we are all starting over, basically. Whatever successes we've had don't matter.